Next, we're going to look at the absorption costing income statement. So nothing's changed. It's what we've been learning so far. And it shows sales minus our cost of goods sold to give us the gross profit. And then we subtracted our selling and admin expenses to arrive at income from operations. So nothing's changed here. Up in the cost of goods sold, we're going to have all of our costs associated with the products we sold, which include the direct materials, the direct labor, and both the fixed and variable factory overhead from those units, no matter which period they came from. If we sold inventory from last month during this month, in other words, we sold more than we manufactured, then we'll include some fixed factory overhead from the prior month in this. If, on the other hand, we manufactured more than we sold, then we're going to have some inventory go up onto the balance sheet as an asset, and therefore some of our fixed factory overhead will not be deducted in the current period. This is relevant, and we'll see that as I solve some problems for you later. Now let's look at the variable costing format here. Here we're going to be looking at our sales. We'll deduct our variable cost of goods sold. In other words, our direct material, our direct labor, and our variable factory overhead. The fixed factory overhead is not deducted yet. This doesn't come to cost of goods sold or gross profit. It comes to what's called the manufacturing margin. So the manufacturing margin only is deducting our variable manufacturing costs for those units. Then we have a contribution margin. We're going to subtract our variable selling and admin expenses. You'll remember from the previous chapter where we were looking at variable factory overhead and variable costs associated with manufacturing. We deducted all the variable costs. We've done the same thing here, and we can look at a contribution margin. Remember that formula was sales minus variable costs equals our contribution margin. So we're going to have our contribution margin. From that, we'll subtract our fixed cost, which will be our fixed manufacturing cost, our fixed selling and admin expenses, and we'll come up with the income from operations. Our income from operations under both circumstances will be the same regardless which method we use, as long as the inventory doesn't change. So in summation, I'm going to tell you that no matter which method we use, it's going to remain the same as long as the inventory doesn't change. Remember I said earlier that if the inventory decreases because we're selling some of last month, we'll have some of last month's inventory, including that fixed cost from prior month, and vice versa. So 90% of this chapter is understanding one item, and that is that the difference between the two methods is how we handle the fixed factory overhead. That's 90% of this chapter.